ولعبت مصر دورا محوريا في مختلف القضايا العربية. أعلنت مصر تأسيس تحالف مع الأردن والعراق لتفعيل التعاون المشترك بين الدول الثلاث بكافة جوانبه الاقتصادية والسياسية في ظل ما تشهده المنطقة من تحديات ومخاطر. تعاملت مصر مع الأزمة السورية في ظل حرصها على وضع نهاية لمعاناة الشعب السوري الشقيق. وفيما يتعلق بالوضع في اليمن، أكدت مصر دعمها الشرعية اليمنية. واحتلت الأزمة الليبية مركز الاهتمام المصري بحكم الجوار والعلاقات التاريخية.
In Libya, Egypt has played a key role in pushing for an inclusive political process and for elections to be held on time in December. We've worked together to help the Libyans resolve pressing economic issues, including the unification of the Libyan Central Bank, and we very much agree on the importance of a full withdrawal of all foreign forces, fighters, and mercenaries from the country.
We raised the situation in Libya, which I visited earlier this week, and where Egypt is playing a decisive role, and I want to thank you for this role on pushing for and keeping the ceasefire in Libya.
The current view of the administration is that Egypt is playing a constructive role when it comes to border security, Libya, GERD, obviously the conflict in Gaza, etc.
أتت أزمة غزة الأخيرة لتؤكد أن مصر هي قلب العالم العربي. توالت التقارير الدولية التي تثني على الدور المصري.
But also Egypt has played a big role as well in those negotiations.
Long off from now, and we're hearing that this came through an Egyptian mediator. This points to the fact that there has been a lot of regional as well as international pressure on both sides to come to this agreement, doesn't it?
Egypt's mediation efforts were vital to achieving the ceasefire in May between Gaza and Israel, and it's committed $500 million in reconstruction in Gaza, among other efforts to improve the lives of the Palestinian people.
I extend my sincere gratitude to President al-Sisi and the senior Egyptian officials who played such a critical role in this diplomacy.
وفيما يتعلق بالعلاقات المصرية الأمريكية، شهدت العلاقات العديد من التطورات الإيجابية على مدار السنوات الماضية، والتي توجت في نهاية عام 2021 بعقد الحوار الاستراتيجي الأمريكي المصري بعد توقف 6 سنوات.
Next year, the Egypt-US diplomatic relationship will mark its 100th anniversary. And one reason the relationship is strong is because we're not merely maintaining it, but consistently expanding the areas where we cooperate. I'd also note that this is the first Egypt-US strategic dialogue since 2015, which is too far apart, given our many common interests and challenges. And we intend to get it back on a more regular cadence.
I'm convinced, and I hope that that's the message you will get from everybody here in Washington, that the United States will continue to remain in the region and play the positive role it has generally played over the past 40 years. But it will have to do so in a different way than in the recent past, with more reliance upon its partners and allies. And Egypt, given your size, importance, location, and history, also as the first Arab state that truly engaged with us on a variety of security questions right after the 1973 war, is really a pioneer in this regard.
Egypt has long been such a truly stalwart partner in working with its immediate neighbors and also in the greater Middle East. Of course, the U.S.-Egyptian partnership on which our countries embarked back in the mid-1970s has not only changed the diplomatic and security maps of the Middle East for the better, it has also enabled modernization of the capabilities of the Egyptian armed forces and helped improve substantially the operational effectiveness of U.S. and coalition forces thanks to Egypt's support for our air and sea movements over and through Egypt's territory.
We did see early in the administration when the Evergreen was stuck in the Suez, international maritime traffic, both commercial and military, was stuck. Egypt matters, both for Suez transit, for U.S. military overflight, cooperation with Egypt for Red Sea security, maritime security.
All of this, I think, speaks to the fact that we have an incredibly broad and also incredibly deep agenda that joins our countries. And we need to do this work. We need to keep doing it together, consistently, because ultimately it advances the interests of people in both the United States and in Egypt. We'll continue to invest in all of these opportunities, whether it's climate, whether it's trade, whether it's people to people, whether it's the partnership that we have on regional security and stability.
في هذا السياق أشار المركز البحثي الأمريكي American Security Project في تقرير بعنوان فهم العلاقة المصرية الأمريكية إلى تصريح روبرت ماكفارلين مستشار الأمن القومي للرئيس الأمريكي الراحل رونالد ريغان، والذي كتب في عام 2014: على مدار تاريخها الممتد آلاف السنين كانت مصر ولا تزال الضوء الموجه للثقافة العربية ومعيار الشرعية ونموذجا يحتذى به في جميع أنحاء المنطقة، فليس من المبالغة القول أنه من خلال رعاية نجاح الحكومة المصرية الجديدة سنعمل على تعزيز الاستقرار في الشرق الأوسط مع كل الفوائد المصاحبة للمصالح الأمريكية التي تنطوي عليها.
I want to unequivocally state that I value the U.S.-Egypt relationship. I value Egypt's role in the region.
كتب الكونغرس الأمريكي في تقرير بتاريخ 30 سبتمبر من عام 2021 أن التحديث العسكري مستمر، حيث حصلت على طائرات مقاتلة وسفن حربية من موردين روس وأوروبيين. ومن الناحية الدبلوماسية توسط الرئيس السيسي في أزمة غزة وقام بتوسيع العلاقات مع ليبيا ولبنان والعراق، وتأتي إعادة تأكيد مكانة مصر الإقليمية ونشاطها المحلي في أعقاب فترة من الاضطرابات السياسية التي شلت البلاد في العقد السابق.
And on a slightly different note, unequivocally, we need Egypt as much or more than Egypt needs us.